Heavy barbell lifts are still part of bodybuilding. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And it's one of those things where, because people see me still doing a little bit of heavy barbell work, on a few exercises like squat, bench, and deadlift, even though I've been training now more towards physique and bodybuilding type goals, I get people who chime in, they're like, man, what if you trained just bodybuilding? How much quicker would your physique change? And it's like, what are you guys talking about? My training is bodybuilding. I do lots of curls. I do lots of side delts and calves and forearms. Guys, I'm doing an actual bodybuilding split, like a 5 to 6 day a week bodybuilding split, body part split with compound and isolation movements for pretty much every muscle in my body. All right. We literally do 4 different types of curls every week. Okay. I do like 5 different shoulder exercises, delt exercises every week. This is bodybuilding. But, people chime in with that and they don't seem to grasp. They forget history. For some reason, people have this idea that many of the best bodybuilders in the world haven't done the power lifts or the classic lifts for heavy 1 to 3 rep sets, right? But they have. They have forever, okay? They have forever. And I can give you guys examples, but we can get into the modern era. I mean, Ronnie Coleman is a perfect example. And I know that's the Ronnie Coleman fallacy. As soon as you use Ronnie Coleman as an example, you lose the argument. But it's still the point. The guy was doing doubles with 500 on a bench press. The guy was doing doubles with like 800 on the squat and the deadlift. He was doing stuff like this when he was within a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks sometimes, of competing in the Mr. Olympia and then winning. So, it's kind of something I would point out. It's like he's, by many people's standards, the GOAT. Yet he's doing heavy doubles on an 800-pound deadlift. He's doing doubles on a 500-pound bench press going into the Mr. Olympia. This isn't even off-season. Okay? You see where we're going with this? How is this not bodybuilding then? If it's part of the training of some of the greatest, most successful champion bodybuilders of all time, doesn't it not count as bodybuilding? I'm just saying, are we saying there's nothing to it? How about Arnold? I mean, Arnold had over a 600-pound deadlift, had a 500-pound back squat, right? He did heavy singles, sometimes even in his training. Franco Columbu, extremely successful powerlifter and strength athlete guy, was again something like close to, I think, like a 500 bencher or something, or close to, wasn't he? Hey, over a 700-pound deadlifter as a Mr. Olympia winner. Okay, so what are we talking about? Reg Park. Let's go back to the more classic guys. Reg Park did lots of heavy squat, bench, and deadlift. They were just part of his routine, plus overhead press, other stuff too, right? He did heavy low rep stuff. The guy had like a 500 bench, or I saw him do a 500 floor press once in an old black and white video. I don't know if he could bench it, but he could floor press it. He was purported to have like a 700-pound deadlift. Now, I don't know that any of this was verified, but it was claimed, and he did the lifts. In fact, some of these guys actually had really heavy Olympic lifts too, right? Clean and jerk, the snatch, right? These guys did these classic lifts. In fact, all the old school bodybuilders were good at all the classic lifts. So they were good at the big 3 for heavy singles. They all had good maxes. They all maxed out. They all had good strict presses, good clean and jerks, good snatches, all this stuff. They did these things. They did heavy barbell lifts. This was part of bodybuilding. But again, if people are going to argue, well, you would bodybuild more successfully if you didn't. So tell that to Ronnie Coleman. Tell that to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Tell that to Franco Columbu. They clearly did it. So, I mean, my point here is the arguments people could make is, well, it's not efficient. Right? You could make an argument for that, and I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that point. Okay, scientifically it may not be efficient. How about mentally the mindset it brings? How about when we look at data, though, the potential for myofibrillar stuff for extra hardness? Hey, there's a harder, denser look that's historically gone to the guys who are real strong and lift really, really heavy for some low reps in their training. I mean, are we denying this stuff? Now, does that mean you necessarily need to have a massive arch on the bench and a forward range of motion? No. But many of your amazing bodybuilders in the past had super strong benches, and some of them super strong, like flat back benches, 4 maxes. Tons of the greatest bodybuilders in the world have done this. But then we come over to how about pre-activation? Hasn't there been studies showing that doing a really heavy single before doing rep work? It's been shown in some studies to improve neuromuscular efficiency on that rep work, which means better muscle fiber recruitment. So there's something to the whole power building thing. That's essentially then what we're talking about, doing a little bit of heavy work. Right, that's the power building. And then going into all your bodybuilding volume. Isn't that what Michael Hearn is famous for? Are we going to argue that in terms of physique it hasn't been phenomenal? Look at how Michael Hearn looks in his 50s. Nobody competes with him. Guy's on his own level. Yeah, that's how he chooses to train. Again, the argument then, well, if we shouldn't be doing these really heavy barbell lifts, that it'll interfere with bodybuilding, are we then claiming that? So then one would have to conclude that if Michael Hearn had not done that stuff and he had just quit, that he would have an even better physique? I mean, seriously, if Michael Hearn didn't do heavy singles with 405 on an incline, or 450 on his reverse bench, or didn't do any 600 plus pound deadlifts, the argument people are then making is he would have an even better, more impressive physique if he didn't do this stuff. That's a tall claim. Because that would only be the only way these claims would work. Same thing with Ronnie Coleman. If doing heavy singles and doubles on squat, bench, and deadlift interfered with bodybuilding, then one would have to conclude that Ronnie Coleman would have had an even more impressive physique if he didn't do those things. That's a heck of a claim to make, because I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe those 800-pound deadlifts did contribute some to just the amount of density and things that man had. Okay, because we're not just talking purely hypertrophy, we're talking stuff like muscle density, that certain maturity look, okay, that hardness. There are actual experts in the science who do believe that there is a growing body of evidence that, yes, the really heavy lifting contributes to that. I've seen Lyle, I've seen Minnow, I've seen other people make those points. That may actually be an evidence-based approach that, no, really, there may be actual science behind why guys like Ronnie Coleman and Michael Hearn and them are getting benefits from doing this for bodybuilding purposes. Okay? It may not be bro science at all. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.